Hello, and welcome back to Take Yourself to Work, the podcast where we talk about finding success without losing yourself in the process. We are super excited for our guest today, the one, the only, the incomparable, Brandy Lowry. And I am going to let her tell you a little bit about herself, but Brandy is a licensed attorney who has been practicing for, we had 20 years.
Oh no, we're at 10.
Oh,
I
10,
started
sorry.
later.
I gave her some years. I gave her some years, but she is, what's your specialty?
Unfortunately, family law.
Family law. So we have a litigator on our hands. We'll put a round of applause in for that. But Brandy also has a secret talent, and as most attorneys do, she couldn't just do the thing. She had to become the best at it. She had to go get a certification in it. She had to go get an education in it because that's who she is. She is going to tell you exactly about that journey and what second career she's made out of her secret talent and passion. And that's what we're going to discover today on Take Yourself to Work. So, Brandy,
Hey y'all. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm
I'm
so happy to have you.
excited. Yes.
I've been begging you because I love what you do. It's such an interesting, unconventional marriage of
hmm
two things, and you really did marry the two things together. So, can you tell us a little bit about how went from uh, the queen in court to the bourbon queen? Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
So as you know, where I work, it can get stressful at times and dealing with the clientele that I'm used to. So I needed an outlet. To be honest, I started a speed dating company at first before I got into this.
Speed
Yes,
dating.
I was into speed dating. It was called Play Choose Date. So it was speed dating mixed with games, like kid games, like Connect Four. So as you're sitting across from each other, you're playing game. That was to break the ice. And then people would make a match. But that kind of, well, my dad passed away, and then I was
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry.
okay, that's all right. Then I just kind of took a break from it. But I was like, okay, I wanted to. Speed dating was kind of hard because it was hard to get men, but I also wanted to do something else.
Why only hard to get men?
I listen, I don't know.
Okay.
It was hard.
I
I would
mean, I can
always sell out
guess.
of women tickets. Men,
Okay.
it was difficult for them to come. I don't know if they are intimidated or if they feel like, why would I pay for a speed dating event when there's so many women out there I can find for
Okay.
free?
Okay.
It's more men out, it's more women out there than men. I don't know, but it was always difficult. So I had to put a pause, but at the time I was still trying to find something else to still to match like the stress because I'm like I'm tired of being stressful at this job. And so one day I went to New Orleans and with some friends, and one of them was like, "Hey, you're an attorney. You need a good drink. You need a grown folks drink. So try this old fashioned."
Brandy, let's take a brief pause at old fashioned because that drink, in my opinion, is an acquired taste. Have you heard that before?
No, you have to acquire. You have to like whiskey then or bourbon.
Okay, that's true because I think whiskey is also an acquired.
I give you that.
It's
I give you that.
strong.
It is.
It's in my. I have these buckets, and and scotch are in my grown man drink
See, I
buckets
don't like scotch
at all.
at all. I do not like scotch, and people are trying to get me to like scotch.
Mm.
I don't like scotch because I don't like the peatedness, the smokiness. It
Mm.
is. I do not like scotch. I've tried. Not
Okay,
for me.
so you're in New Orleans.
So I am in New Orleans living my best life, and I'm trying this drink. And the way the bartender did, he lit the orange peel on fire as he making a drink, put the cherry. New Orleans is extra. And so I love New Orleans. I'm like, this is a New Orleans drink. I know I'm not gonna get this anywhere else. No, that's not true. So come back home to Houston. I fell in love with the old fashioned and started with I'm just gonna try to find the best old fashioned in Houston.
Okay.
Then the world shut down. And when the world shut down, I was like, I can't do nothing with finding the best old fashioned in the anyway. So like everybody else, you go down a rabbit hole. You got to find something to do while we locked up in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, eventually when the world comes back up, let me figure out how to do this niche. So I just started researching what to do to have the best, to find the best old fashioned in Houston. How does my Instagram gonna look? What's the name gonna be? So it was just like brainstorming.
It's interesting. I think probably 70, 80% of the people I know when the world was shut down, discovered something new that they cared about and had the time to pursue it. I remember things blowing up with people roller skating who had never
Yeah,
roller skated. And I wound up writing two books during COVID, children's books. So it really was, in some ways, a blessing. I mean, obviously, my heart goes out to all the lives that were lost, including some
absolutely.
very close to me and my family. But how often do you get an opportunity, particularly as a high volume litigating attorney, to think through a business design from start to finish? And sounds like COVID gave you that opening.
And it did, and too, I was kind of semi-homeless during COVID
Well, okay, let's hear about that.
because I was having a house built in the middle of COVID.
Ah, and they
So
stopped?
no, they were still building it, but my apartment was already packed up because my lease was up. So I was in Dallas at my mama house. So that's why I'm saying semi-homeless, because I was in Dallas doing all of this. So I'm at her house, and my apartment literally is like boxes wall to wall. So I'm like, I can't really be there. And just was in Dallas just trying to, figure out this niche. And honestly, I didn't even take it to where it is now. I was just wanting to find the best old fashioned in the city and then how to make it my own.
But when you say trying to find the best old fashioned in the city, are you talking about going place to place
Yep.
tasting, or were you looking at lists? You know, there's all these highfalutin lists of people who are connoisseurs who will tell you where the
Mhm.
best place. So did you use any of those?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Because everybody want to be somebody, and they want to tell you about. I can say that
True.
now.
True.
Look, I couldn't say that back then. I can say that now. Because everybody in the bourbon community want to tell you who they are and what they do. But I wanted to just go place to place, especially being locked up in the house for, X amount
Mm.
of months. I was ready to get out. So I was writing a list. I'm Googling, like, and hope and praying these people will be open when COVID is
Oh my
over.
gosh.
So it went from there. And then, we live in Texas. So we live in Houston. But we was outside before everybody else was outside.
Houston
Pretty
did
much.
open up a little early.
Yeah. So with my mask on, and one of my really good friends, he was like, "You want to go on this journey of old fashions, but before you do, you have to learn what whiskey and bourbons are, which
Mm.
is the base
Now,
of
who
old
is this
fashioned."
friend? Like, he has some kind of roots in,
No, he's like a big brother to me. His name is Walt.
but it was important to him that you start from
Right. He
foundational.
was like, if you want to take this to the next level, because he is like a big brother to me. And so he was like right there. He was like, I like this old fashioned journey you going on. This is dope. Okay. And so, but then his same thing. You're a lawyer now. You're practicing. You need to know what you're talking about.
Facts.
And he was like, you're out here with these people. You need, when you having a drink in your hand, you need to know what proper whiskey or bourbon to put with it. He's like, because businesses are happening over old fashions and golf and cigars, and I do all three. But
And that's the merge right there, because for some people they'll think, why would you be pursuing something so different? But this is the community. This is
that's the yeah.
Now there's a dark side to it. Let's keep it a buck. There are plenty of attorneys who deal with substance abuse because they're not no longer doing it socially, but it's really become a coping mechanism. So interesting to me that rather than drinking for the sake of drinking, you decided to study the craft of a particular spirit, which is really, really cool.
And I also want to get rid of that. Well, you can never get rid of that stigma. Being a lawyer is very stressful.
Hmm.
We are now number one. We used to be number two with suicide rate.
Who did we pass
The
up?
doctors.
Oh Lord, we done passed the doctors.
So, and to cope, because when you have a high clientele, stressful, everybody coming at you, which way we solve everybody's problems.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, you can fall into that rabbit hole of, yeah, I'm just drinking old fashioned. That old fashioned turned into 10, and then I'm doing this every day.
yeah.
And
So
so,
how did you, on the journey, how did you find a balance there?
because I'm a social drinker.
Okay.
Like, I do drink out and I do drink at home, but after a while, I'm like, I don't like getting drunk. Them
Mm.
days are over. I'm too old for
You're a
that.
sipper?
I will, yes. Because I'm going to sip on one for a while. And
Yeah.
now I may have two or three because I like to experiment with old fashions. So I don't look at it as of, okay, I'm having 10 old fashions. I'm trying to mask my problems.
Right.
I'm like, let's have two or three because I see you have a plum bitter or you have an apple bitters or you have that. So now we're about to play and have some fun and experiment with the old fashioned.
Let me ask you, I've been to a couple wine classes, never anything about spirits. people who are tasting through flights for real spirits,
Hmm.
do y'all spit anything
You
out?
can.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I attend whiskey socials or
Hmm.
whiskey festivals or whatever, I don't always finish it.
Hmm.
Like I will spit it out. Especially when you've been gone through so many trying. I got water and I didn't real sip. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Because I still got to pace
So
myself.
you
I
don't
got
have to
like,
stumble back to the
right. But I always Uber. You would never
smart.
catch me driving at a whiskey fest.
Drink
I Uber.
responsibly.
Yes. Definitely. And please, if 21 and older too.
Yes, that
Um,
part.
but going I love whiskey and bourbon. And so
Okay.
that's the thing. When my big brother took me down this rabbit hole in the Galleria Mall, we started at Saks Fifth Avenue in the bar, in the middle of the bar at
Oh,
Saks.
okay.
We started there and went through so many different places just in the Galleria
And
Mall.
there's so many
There
places.
is. And so he was teaching me whiskey and scotch. Realize. And it was to the point to where like the aging, I didn't know what the numbers on the bottles mean. I assumed it meant,
They,
age,
mm,
but I didn't know.
or which age was good age? Which one
Right.
was impressive?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we were, and by that, because it was like in the middle of the week. So a lot of the beverage managers at these places had time because nobody was in there.
Mm,
So they became part of the discussion and
mm.
they're pulling out different bottles for me to try and stuff. And I was like, this is really
That is cool.
cool. So from there, I was like, I wonder, like wine, is there a whiskey class or whiskey classes that I can take to learn more? I am a history buff by nature. Like I love all history.
You didn't see it yet because it just aired, but we just did our podcast with a historian, and
Oh,
she went
nice.
into how she wanted to go to law school, and she found history to be very similar in terms of putting all the pieces together and tracking down with the
Oh,
research. I keep finding this little
nice.
synthesis. There's something the same
It
in
is,
there.
yeah, because I do love research. I like legal research. I love researching. But I mean, of course, I love Black history first. So that's first and foremost. Like, let's be clear. And then like I do like American history. I love the Civil War area, the Revolutionary like war era. I love those because I love the Prohibition era because those are the
Mm.
times where whiskey was like getting good. Like I love how so back to that, I attend Whiskey University and I'm one of their professors.
That's what you found.
That's what I found, Whiskey University. It's a
That's
real
the
thing.
name.
It's a real thing.
I didn't even ask it. I didn't even say it. I wasn't going to say it wasn't real. I was going to say, where did you find Whiskey
I
University?
actually, so during COVID, I Googled it,
Okay.
but I think that they were just getting started. So it wasn't that many, it wasn't as big. And then I'm a part of these bourbon communities on Facebook.
Mhm.
So somebody would mention it and they was like, if you know Colonel Craig, he's the one who put it together.
Colonel Craig.
Well, his name is Craig Duncan,
Is he an
but
actual colonel?
no, it's
Okay.
just it's the way they have it set up. Like I'm a lieutenant, first lieutenant,
Oh, you get a
something. Yeah,
military
you get a, but
ranking?
yeah, you do.
What
It's
is going
super
on?
cool.
Okay.
So, because of that, so they were just getting started, and then I had attended one of the classes. Like I paid to attend one of the classes to get an idea, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is not what I thought, but I'm gonna come back later.
This is in person.
No, it's online
Okay.
because they're out of Tennessee.
Oh, makes sense.
And so it was like, okay. So then I went back. So I put it to the side for a while. And then I came back. I'm like, I still want to learn more. So let me
Hmm.
go back to Whiskey University. Let me actually dive in and see what they're about. I sent an email, followed up. This was in 2022. Yeah, I started my first class September 2022.
Okay.
I have a bourbon diploma. I have a bachelor's degree. I'm working on my second bachelor's right now.
Wait, they have multiple accredited
Yes.
like things you can chase down?
Yes.
Wow.
The highest degree is a Master of Science. So I have a Bachelor of Science degree that I'm
Wait.
working on.
You
Yeah.
can get a Master of Science in bourbon
Mhm,
specifically.
mhm.
Honey,
I'm trying to live my best life in this industry.
I don't have on a hat, but my hat is off.
So, and it teaches you, because I recruit a lot of people too, because it's not just about drinking whiskey and bourbon. You are learning the history behind it. You're
Sure.
learning the bottles that you're drinking. You're learning the brands that you're drinking. You're learning everything. You're learning where it first started, how it came about. Like you were learning so much. I teach the Texas whiskey class and the women's founders in whiskey. Those are the two classes that I teach. But you learn
In
so
case y'all
much.
missed it, she's now a professor. In
I
case you
am a
missed the
person.
arc of being interested in a topic, getting multiple degrees, and becoming a professor of the topic. And if that doesn't shed light on who we're talking to, then you're not following. You're not you're not following.
So that and actually coming sometime in the middle of this year, I will be the like state leader of
Mm,
well, they divide Texas up east and west. So I have all of East Texas,
okay.
which is not East Texas, but it's just like the half of Texas I will
Hmm.
be over. So if you want to attend Whiskey University, hit me up.
Let me ask you this because we need to get into what you've done since you've acquired these degrees. You have a book out. We need to talk about your book. And you have so many things going on. One of the questions I ask everyone on here is maybe this is the wrong word. I always admit maybe it's not a truth, maybe it's a myth. What is the balance? You still have a full time legal career, correct?
Hmm.
And now you have something that's become more than a passion. It is another career path that has opened up to you. How are you making those things work without losing yourself, without running yourself down, without running into exhaustion?
You know what? I don't know because I'm not tired. When it starts feeling like business, then I will shut my brain off and then find something in my business to make it fun again.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to be like, okay, now you need to go back to do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I'm undiagnosed ADHD in my personal opinion.
Same. I think so too.
Because there are things that are hard but bring me joy to do, and there are things that are necessities. I have to do them and I can almost not even shove myself into the chair to sit down and do them. So, and I can hyper focus if I'm enjoying, and
Hmm.
I cannot focus at all if I'm procrastinating. So, okay, I feel a little kindred spirit happening right
Yes,
now.
yes. Because listen, when you make it business, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay, let me ask you this question. I've had some conversation with people who do not like the way the world has moved towards monetization of all things. And they feel like people should have unmonetized hobbies. So things you enjoy.
Mm-mm.
th- Okay.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I'm
What is your
sorry.
perspective?
It's all this money out here to be made. Let's make this money.
That part. She-
I'm sorry. Like, I don't have that much time. Yes, it is fun, but because the old fashioned barrister was fun, but after maybe a couple of months, how can we make money? That's
Yes.
exactly what I said. Because I don't have time to be out here just running around doing this for what? Because one,
Mm.
somebody else may try to steal it and make money off of it. So why not I make money off my brand so that I
Speaking
created?
of brands, what was your approach to branding? Are you all trademarked up?
I am in the middle of trademarking because I'm having issues with the old fashioned part of the old fashioned
Oh,
barrister.
I can imagine that the scene is crowded with old fashioned this, old
Yes.
fashioned that.
So
Plus, it's a term
it is
of
a term.
yeah,
It's
so
a
it's
common term.
that's
So
tough.
I'm dealing with that. And then I found out that somebody's trying to come for my trademark. They're trying to file an application for the old fashioned barrister. And if you are listening, I'm coming for you.
She said, "Cut it." Okay,
So please stop because I will come
because
for you.
catch me outside. How about that?
That part. That part.
You know that happens a lot. There's a lot of pirates. Even if
Yes.
you just search for the URL and you haven't done the trademark yet, I'm 99% sure the algorithm is certain people are using that to figure out what's being searched for and get in front of the trademarks.
Yeah.
I actually had a lot of difficulty myself because I had the birdhouse, but it had my catchphrase.
Mhm.
And then when I decided to go direct, somebody grabbed just the birdhouse already.
Oh wow.
And I thought, how could they do that? I should have been able to keep them from doing that. They exclusively publish music though. And I publish books and lyrics and this and all that because I do have, if I don't know if you know, but I fancy myself a singer and I used to love to
Oh
write
yeah, I knew
music.
that.
So I had like a line in there about it. So I'm not sure how they managed that, but I've gone a different direction, and I am also trademarking my new name. So I'm first in time. So don't be on here talking about she trying to get out in front of me either.
I'm just scared that like somebody will. That's my thing. I don't want to rename myself.
Right.
Like so I was like, I made a consultation and everything right now, like because I did do it. I did it's still in the process. It got abandoned, but I'm like, oh, when I got an email saying that somebody trying to file an application, no, you're not. And it's from this random attorney. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, thank you, because I was gonna reapply anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you just, just put a light up under myself. But I
Yeah.
don't want to, like, I don't want to definitely change my name. And I feel like it's deliberate because I'm like, you ain't no lawyer. The Old Fashioned Barrister is a lawyer who loves old fashions.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
It's rough out here,
It
and I
is.
think part of the strategy is to own something you can sell back to the person who actually needs it. Because
Or it's file a lawsuit and then make me pay.
I mean, there's tons of people
Yeah.
who purchase. They just buy up a lot of URLs. They buy up the domains,
Yeah.
and then they sell them to you, and they're not using them. I mean, I guess I get it. Like you said, why not monetize what you're good at? But it feels a little vulturish to me.
That part is vulturous because that is not something that you created. That is just you being lazy and trying to get easy money. Like, there's a difference. When you say monetizing, I believe in monetizing your passion at some point because because somebody is going to come along and it's going to be lazy and steal what you've already built together. So protect yourself and make money off of it. Why not? You can still have fun making money.
Right. And you can
Like,
always pull back.
exactly.
If it's not fun anymore and you're losing the joy, you can pull back. You don't always have to be selling, selling, selling.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with
Because
you on that.
when selling this book, when it came out, it was a lot.
Oh, let's talk about the book. What made you go from learning the craft to the book? Keep it. Let's hold it. Let me see this. Let me give me this book.
So, fun fact, she's my publisher.
I am.
So, if you're looking for a Black female publishing company, the Birdhouse.
Thank you for that. I wasn't even going to give a shameless plug, but I am.
Oh, no, you have to. I refer everybody who tell me they're writing a book, I send them to you. So,
It's so good. You know what? You were a great author to work with because you had a clear perspective. Not everyone has that. Sometimes they have an idea, but you knew the vibe, the feeling. You knew you wanted to be dark. Even if you look at the back cover, it's like a wood grain. It Everything about this is it feels smoky. It feels old fashioned. You you hired a food photographer. Is that who was doing?
no, it was me.
You were your food.
I was my food photographer. Now I hired a professional photographer for my pictures.
Yeah.
But for the drinks, that came off the iPhone.
And you're wearing some of your merch. Is that for
Yes.
sale?
This is not for sale. The shirts are
Okay.
not for sale. This is just my branding t-shirt when I
I
am
don't know if
out.
you can see this. It's good though. The book is great, and so my husband and a few other people we know have gotten into cocktails also, and this is I'm just gonna do my own shameless plug because this is a great starter. If
Hmm.
you are not steeped in the world and you haven't been to Whiskey University, but you want to be able to impress friends, family, coworkers, colleagues with your not just your knowledge, but your ability to make different variations built off of the old fashioned. This is the book, and it's so easy. The way the steps are and the mixing method. I mean, everything from how many seconds to stir it to get the right combination. That's a level of detail that I don't think you use like this. I'm on a page that says stir well for 5 to 15 seconds.
And I literally counted 5 to 15
So
seconds.
specific.
That's that lawyer side.
But also, people I know who really drink, I don't mean alcoholics, I mean people who really care about what they drink. They care about stuff like this. I
Hmm.
have a great friend who only drinks cocktails a specific way. Like
Mm.
he explained to me, do not shake my drink with ice because little chips of ice get left in it.
Hmm.
Only stir it. I didn't know what that meant. I was like, oh, I thought the James Bond shaking not stirred. I don't know. What do I know?
And
So this is a
see,
great book.
with old fashions, you do not shake it. So if somebody is shaking your old fashioned in a shaker, that's not old fashioned.
Okay, tell us the OG recipe for the old fashioned.
So the OG classic, this is you got you got pre-prohibition and post-prohibition.
Okay.
So pre-prohibition it's old fashions are 3 ingredients, period. It is whiskey or
Mhm.
bourbon, it is simple syrup or sugar cube, and it's bitters. But pre-prohibition, it was sugar cubes, whiskey, and bitters. Because they
Hmm.
would actually crush up the sugar cubes at the bottom of the old fashioned in the glass.
This is before orange
This,
came in.
I don't even know if they had the orange then. That's why I know they had the cherry.
Okay.
So, but I know they definitely would muddle up the sugar cube, and I think they were using the red cherries too. I think so.
Hmm.
But the orange, I don't remember that part. I
It
gotta
just
look that
showed up
up.
somewhere.
Yeah, I gotta figure out when because they might have showed up post prohibition. Because now post prohibition, we use simple syrup.
Okay, you know what? Since we're talking about it, let's get you to make one.
Let's make it old fashioned.
All right. We have here the fixings. So tell us what we're looking at, Brandy.
So we're gonna make a apple old fashioned. This is my ingredients. So the apple spice cinnamon old fashioned is in my book, but I'm trying something new.
Okay.
So I made my own apple cinnamon syrup.
What is that process like? Days, weeks,
It's
hours?
it's simple syrup. So let me tell y'all what, like your grandmama say, it's water and sugar on the stove. That is the simple syrup. And then I actually boiled apples in it. So I seep my apples in the sugar and the water, and then I add a little bit of cinnamon to it to give it a little cinnamon kick.
This is making me hungry. Now I want apple pie, but okay, let's go. So you make your own simple syrup. Is that healthier? Do you think it's better?
I think it is because you control the sweetness.
Okay.
And it's cheaper because you can make it your own. Because simple syrup is like $3-4
For a little
for
tiny
about for something like this big, about maybe $5.
Okay.
And if you like me, I do whiskey tastings and events. That adds up. Okay. Let me just make my own.
Love that.
Because it's sugar water. That's all
Love
it
that.
is.
You got your whole the whole linear parts of the thing inside house.
And so then we're gonna do orange bitters. So like I said, you always need bitters to make an old fashioned. Some people use the Angostura bitters, which is regular bitters. Bitters are like an herb. They can get little. There, it's not good by itself, but it adds flavor to the cocktail.
It's a piece. Never just drink bitter.
No, no. And then we're doing Milam and Green. So Milam and Green is a Texas whiskey.
Oh, I love that.
And yes, Texas does make whiskey, not just Kentucky or Tennessee. This is a female-owned distillery here in Blanco, Texas.
Okay.
They're the only female-owned distillery, so that's why I want to use Milam and Green.
In the U.S.?
I would probably say yeah.
Okay.
No, in Texas, because there are some other female-owned distilleries. So let me clarify, because I was just thinking a few off the top of my head. So yeah. But here in Texas, they're the first female-owned, and right now the only female-owned distillery in Texas.
Wonderful. And tell me what it is.
Milam and Green. You can get them at Total Wine, Specs.
Okay.
So yeah. So now we're gonna start with. We're gonna do a couple of dashes of bitters. About 3 or 4 dashes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Because you don't want to make it too bittery. But these are orange, so it blends well with the apple.
Got it.
But sometimes if you do too many dashes, like 10 or 11, then your old fashioned gonna taste too bittery. You're gonna taste it. So then we're gonna do a half an ounce of simple syrup.
Half of an ounce. So that's not too much sugar. So if I'm trying to watch my waistline, I can have an old fashioned.
Or if you want it to be sweet, you can add more. Because some people like theirs a little bit sweeter. Mm-hmm. So it's not about watching your waistline. It's just like, oh, it may be too strong or...
the sweeter it is, the less strong it tastes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you can always add a couple of little dashes of water to dilute it as well. And so now we're going to do 1.5 ounces of Milam and Green whiskey.
Oh, you're really measuring. You're not doing that crazy pour.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let the ancestors guide me.
Dang. You gotta guide yourself home later.
Sometimes I let the ancestors guide me. And when they do, yeah, I'm like, oh, it could be one of them days. Be one of those days. So we're gonna stir it. Sometimes I stir with ice cube. And then other times I'll stir it outside. And then I'm gonna stir both too. So we have some good. I like to do either a round cube or a square cube for ice.
I've noticed that old fashioned always have one large piece of ice.
Yeah, because you don't want it to dilute. You don't want it to water down quickly.
Oh, that's why, because the ice melts slower.
Right.
Am I supposed to finish an old fashioned before that ice gets gone?
It's good too, because when it melts, it's gonna taste like water. Okay. I'm always. Yeah.
See, I'm nervous. I told you this is a grown drink. See, we didn't even add the cherry in this.
We did not have the cherry or the.
What is it called?
So this is the apple. This is the apple old fashioned.
So never add cherry to apple.
No, you can. You can add cherry and an orange peel for garnishment. I just didn't bring one.
It sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. I made it.
Oh no, that's good. Well, I'm confused. Wait a minute. I have had lots of old fashions that don't taste like.
Too. So we add a flavor because the simple syrup we add flavor to it.
Is there simple syrup in a regular old fashioned?
Yes, but it's just regular sugar water. So there's no flavors to it.
So the apples would took this up.
And then I use an orange instead of the regular.
No, this is delicious. I'm not listening. I'm not saying this lightly. I don't drink this. When I see people order old fashioned, I'm like, I guess. This is great.
And that's why I did that in my book. Because those that don't drink regular old fashions, you can have an old fashioned, add whatever flavor you want to it and make it your own.
You'll have to come back by the house and teach me how to do the apple simple syrup.
Of course, I got you.
Okay. No, I am pleasantly surprised. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, one more cheers for that.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we did do a shout out to woman owned, and that's bourbon.
That's whiskey.
That's whiskey. What is that big divider?
Well, let me say this. It's whiskey. It's a bourbon whiskey. So all bourbons are whiskey, but not all whiskeys are bourbons.
Okay.
So bourbon is, we call it the ABC. That's the simplest way. It's more, but the simplest way. Has to be made in America, 51% corn, and it has to be in new oak charred barrels. That's a bourbon.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be from Tennessee.
Nope, it don't have to be from Tennessee. It don't have to be from Kentucky. It has to be made in America. And there's no aging requirement. So you can put bourbon in a barrel for 2 seconds and call it bourbon. Now, is it good? No. Let's be clear. No. But you can call it bourbon.
Okay.
And whiskey is made with grains. It's made with barley, wheat, rye, corn, the cereal grains. So that's what whiskey has to be made in America too.
Okay. So when they say what is American culture, we got the market cornered on whiskey and bourbon. That's our thing.
Well, no, because whiskey without the E started in Ireland and Scotland. Well, whiskey without the E is Scotland. Whiskey with the E, Irish whiskey started in Ireland. We kind of behind the
spell it differently?
Yes.
Y'all, I'm learning. I did not know there was a whiskey with an E on the end.
So we spell it whiskey with the E because we're in America. Ireland spelled theirs with the E because there's the E in Ireland. But Scotland spelled it without the E because there's no E in Scotland.
Are y'all following? Okay. All right, I want to play a game then.
Okay, let's play.
I want to play a game. All right, because you have so many different versions of the old fashioned here, so many twists on it. I am going to name a person.
Ooh.
You are going to say what type of old fashioned they would be if they were an old fashioned, and then you're going to tell us why.
Ooh, it's hard. Listen, I gotta stress
because I'm in your city now. I'm in your zone. You know these things back and forward. Okay.
From my book.
It could be from your book, yes.
Okay.
So, if Michelle Obama was an old fashioned, which one would she be and why?
I would say a classic old fashioned.
Okay.
Yes, because she is classy. She's all things classy.
She is very classy.
Like she is definitely, even though she gonna get that sister girl with you, but she's still classy. She's classy with it. She's classic and very classy.
I don't think we've had a first lady that classic since probably Jackie O.
And she would be a classic too.
One that people mimic their wardrobe, their style,
want to
their
be,
grace.
admire, and look up to. Yeah, definitely a classic.
Okay. If Morris Chestnut.
Oh, girl, he'd be a smoke. So fast. Okay. He signed my book too.
Did he sign your book?
He signed my
Where'd
book.
you meet Morris Chestnut?
I met him at the top. Him and Harry Pennery, I cannot say his last name, and Malcolm Lee and Tay Diggs have their own bourbon called Sable Bourbon, and they were at Total Wine here in Houston, and they signed my book.
I love that.
Harold and Morris did.
Why Smokey? Why is he smoky?
Because he's fine.
And he's just
I mean, and a smoky is hot and sexy. 'Cause that's my favorite too. So when you think of a smoky, you think like a smoky eye. When you're trying to be sexy, when you're going out, yes. So
Okay.
he's fine.
Okay, that makes sense. Beyonce as a bourbon.
Beyonce as a bourbon. Well, she got Sir Davis, so I just put it with her. She has her own bourbon.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you make your bourbon with Sir Davis. It's a Beyonce bourbon. Yeah. You heard it here first. That's what
I was like, she has her own.
A Beyonce Old Fashioned. That's what we're calling it. All right, let me try to give you somebody a little more complicated. That might be tough. Let's see. Who's been in the news a lot lately? I don't want to bite too hard. I'm about to say somebody crazy. Who? Okay. No, I don't want to. I'm about to say everybody who I'm thinking of right now is going to be so problematic for me.
And I'd probably be like the sour one. Whatever sour.
It would be orange.
It would be. There is orange okay I think. Be like the one that, listen, I don't care who you did, people. Y'all ain't gonna counsel me, but I know my beliefs.
Okay. I want to do somebody who you're going to have to reach for. What's your favorite type of music?
R&B.
R&B? Okay. See, I'm about to age myself, but did you listen to Carl Thomas? Carl Thomas as an old fashioned.
Oh, I got a good one for him. And it's in my head. Actually, I didn't make this one. This one. Dance Applejack layered. Because it's smooth.
No, it's smooth.
So yeah, my friend Dan, he's an attorney here in Houston, Dan Scarborough, he made this one. So it's smooth and it gives you a little, and it's made with Applejack whiskey. But it's the smoothness, it has a little cinnamon. It kind of pairs well with a cigar.
Ooh.
So
shout out to Dan. That sounds like a good one. Okay, I love that.
That's good on a rainy day. So that's why I think Carl Thomas with the.
Listen, he's already iconic for that turtleneck.
Yes.
The cable knit turtleneck is his, and now he's also Dan's Jack Old Fashioned.
Yes.
Okay, what about like a Lenny Kravitz?
Lenny Kravitz would probably pumpkin spice.
Why?
Because it the colors, like Lenny Kravitz is out there. And it's not in like he's eccentric. He's out there. So pumpkin spice is eccentric because you either gonna love it or hate it.
Facts.
So he's a pumpkin spice old fashioned because either you don't like pumpkin spice or you're not.
I didn't even know pumpkin spice made its way to the old fashioned. I thought it stopped with the lattes.
It's in here. Pumpkin spice old fashioned right here.
So when pumpkin spice season rolls around again, ladies, it doesn't have to stop at Starbucks. You can go ahead and extend it to your old fashioned.
To your old fashioned.
Okay, last one. This is my favorite artist of all time. So think hard on this one. Prince Rogers Nelson.
Oh, I got a plum old fashioned for him because it's purple. Or I made some lavender old fashions too as well.
Well, okay, for plum and lavender, are you making simple syrups with
No, I use the bitters. So for the lavender, yes, or lavender bitters, or and then for the plum, I did plum bitters. That's in my book too.
Basically, get the book. That's what I'm thinking of. That you're putting down.
Yes.
Get the book because there's nothing you can think about that she hasn't already put in here. Perfect and designed for you. All right, this has been fabulous.
This has been fabulous.
Before we cut out, what's next for you? What can we expect next from you?
Well, follow me on the gram at the Old Fashioned Barrister because coming up soon, I am having my second annual Kentucky Derby Whiskey Crawl. So we're going to 4 different places here in Houston celebrating the Kentucky Derby. Milo and Green is a sponsor. So you'll get 4 cocktails from them at each spot, including your ticket.
This brand is sponsoring?
Yes.
I love that for you. Powerful women should always work together. What a girl's girl you are.
And then I'll have a couple of things throughout the city throughout the year. I'm having a Juneteenth whiskey weekend that's still in the works. And probably some fall things. And I'm working on something very big coming out next year, but you got to follow me on Instagram to find
She's
out.
keeping it close. How do we find you on Instagram?
So my Instagram is at the Old Fashioned Barrister. At the Old Fashioned Barrister.
At the Old Fashioned Barrister. And are you also on TikTok?
I am not on TikTok.
Okay.
I am not going to get on TikTok.
Do you have a page?
I do not have a page. I am just strictly Instagram right now. And I have an email at the oldfashionedbarrister@gmail.com. I do private whiskey tastings, corporate whiskey tasting. So if you want to book me for your whiskey tastings, it comes with an old fashioned cocktail too.
I do. I want to book you for a corporate whiskey tasting,
Yes.
and we can make that happen.
Yes.
Okay. So you heard it here first. There's a big secret that we don't know about, and she's not going to tell us until next year. But you can find her at the Old Fashioned Barrister on Instagram, and she does accept corporate bookings for tastings or private bookings. So if you have a big event coming up and someone you love loves bourbon or whiskey and wants to take it to the next level, get your flights here. You heard it here first. Thank you so much, Brandy.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Awesome.
I had a really great time.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.